towards. So I think we should be very firmly in this space. So just in conclusion, we need to be focused on export, and we need to be asking the question, what do the markets want from us? We need to be alert to ideas. Ray Avery, who was last year's New Zealander of the Year, incredibly interesting man. He spoke at length and with passion about how he developed his businesses. And what he said is you need to be alert to the idea of ideas, and that really rang a bell with me, and I think that's exactly right. There are lots of ideas here. We just need to be alert to them. Collaboration, this is a really, really critical one. I spoke earlier about the collaboration already between the business groups, and that's been, I think, quite a stunning improvement in the last 12 months. But we also need to be collaborating with Bay of Plenty, Waikato, Taranaki, even Southland, because those are the areas that we're either actively involved in or are actively involved in growing New Zealand Inc. And we want to grow Taupo Inc., but we can only do that as part of the larger picture. So we really need to be thinking about how we leverage our opportunities off those other regions. And although I think sometimes we've seen Taupo being neither in the Waikato or the Bay of Plenty, and we haven't been quite sure where we were going, I think the reality is now with the new pattern that the central government's put into place is we can actually be in both. And I guess it would be my role to try to facilitate getting funding from both the Waikato and Bay of Plenty and work on a project-by-project basis depending where we fitted best. So for energy, Waikato. For tourism, probably Bay of Plenty. Building a team. This team that I'm talking about, it's obviously Enterprise Lake Taupo, but it's also the business community and it's also the wider community. And we need to build that team, and I guess we're all part of that picture. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. de Beverley and Mr. Finlay. It's music to all of our ears here, what you're actually doing. I'm proud to say that this council has and does consider economic growth to be core business for us, even though Mr. Hyde may think different. Dirty water and clean water and rubbish tins and that. Core business is the economic growth in the visit industry and the directions you're heading in. And I'm pleased to say that this council unanimously have given at a peppercorn rental a big chunk of land for Wairiki Polytechnic, because it is our shared dream that we have a minimum of 1,000 people on a campus by 2011. The dream may be shattered a little bit time-wise, but it is certainly still the goal of this council, I can assure you that. And I know the work going on behind the scenes, it's going to happen. And a lot of those students up there will be international students, and they bring a lot of economic well-being with them, for the want of a better word. So let me open it up for the councillors who may or may not have some questions, or more likely compliments, I would think. And I look forward to the continuation of your good work with Mr. Falk gets behind the steering wheel, and I think watch this space, personally. Very good choice. Any questions, councillors? Councillor Welch.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, congratulations on your report. With the suggestion that the focus will be on export and growth, I'm surprised, or perhaps you just overlooked the fact that the economic force that Tuwharetoa and their economic authorities offer, and you didn't mention them, so I presume that you overlooked them.
I guess I wouldn't dream of overlooking them. They're absolutely critical, of course. I guess what my dream would be, Andrew, to engage with Tuwharetoa. Obviously, we have two Tuwharetoa reps on our board, so we're quite closely engaged already and communicating quite clearly. But what I would like to see in my ideal world would be one of those geothermal projects would be some kind of wood processing plant, which Tuwharetoa would, in an ideal world, be an integral part of that, obviously because they own a lot of wood resource. But I think that rather than sort of talking about them, what we need to do is engage with them economically. So find projects which have value to Tuwharetoa and work with them collaboratively like that.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor McElwee.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you both for your report. I wonder, obviously research is a key part of your work. What's your annual research budget currently?
Currently, well, it's a little bit of a movable feast at the moment because we're just in negotiation with Paymark and NZIER. The last figures I saw was over a 3-year term, it was $7,695 for those two reports, plus I think an extra $800 a quarter from Sean Bevan, whatever that adds up to, around about $11,000 per annum. And that's out of a total budget of 150,000, as you know.
I wonder if you'd perhaps like to comment further on whether you think that's adequate for the sort of work that you're doing. I would have thought that research was absolutely basic.
I would totally agree with you. And if we had more than $150,000 budget, I would definitely spend more of that on research. But we also have to pay, obviously, for a person and for an office. And there's only, that 150,000 only stretches so far. So I think the fact that we're spending around about 7 or 8% of our total budget on research is probably as much as we can afford right now. One thing that I would like to say, strategically, our board, as our number one objective is to increase our funding. So as soon as we increase our funding, which is our number one objective, we will increase our research.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Perhaps I could just add to what Ms. de Bever has actually said. One of the things that we've been doing is, because we've got DLT, Townsend to Taupo, and ELT together, and council, one of the things that we've been trying to do is actually look at what our common needs are, particularly in terms of some of that research, and there's quite a lot of close collaboration going on to help find information which is going to be useful not only for ourselves but for across the board. So it's probably making good use of the small resources that we all have by doing that sharing.
I'd just like to thank the council, actually, because Helen Gilbert from council has been doing some amazing work, on our behalf, basically, to keep the costs down, as Anne's just indicated, for all 4 organisations.
We aim to help.
Thank you.
We are a helpful council. Any further questions? Councillor Smiley?
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Protocol.
Right,
Councillor Krasnowski, it's your last day.
It's perhaps just a comment or observation is, from my perspective, is that anything that will encourage and promote our young and bright people to stay within our district rather than go outside to Wellington, Auckland, Christchurch or wherever, I would be wholeheartedly in support of. And I'd like to think that in future, particularly with Fritz on board, that we will be able to come up with initiatives that will certainly be able to retain some of those young and bright ones.
I just would completely agree with that, particularly having children myself. I would like to retain them here in the region, so I'm personally motivated as well. But I think education as export is required because we need international students to make it work. But of course, we still then get a tertiary education institution for our own children.
Any further questions? Councillor Watts?
Thank you, Chair. Just in relation to the new international airport at Rotorua, do you think you've been able? Have you been able to assess at all any flow-on benefits at this stage, or do you think enough is being done to generate that linkage between Rotorua and us?
That linkage, I think, is primarily through Destination Lake Taupo, but Scott Pearson, I think I'm correct in saying, is on the marketing group that works at Rotorua International Airport. So I think the linkages are probably, he may even be the chair, I'm not sure. Is that? Yes, he's the chair. So I think the linkages are probably pretty good, but I have to say that's more within Destination Lake Taupo's remit, I think, than ours.
Just for the record, Scott Pearson is the chair. And the current Trans-Tasman figures from Sydney Rotorua are running at 86%, and Air New Zealand have assured us as soon as they can find a plane, which they think will be about next March, we will be doing Brisbane and Melbourne from Road to Vegas. So, being a 50-minute drive away, the spin-off for Taupo is enormous, the Taupo District. So, yeah. Any further questions? There being none, I'm sure all the councillors will agree with me when I speak on their behalf. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Beveray, for doing a magnificent job for quite some time, and your committee, and everyone that's helped you, and of course you, Mr. Finlay. Thank you very, very much. And once again, I'm very, very confident that your appointment of Mr. Falk is really going to be a godsend for all of us. And I think our future is very, very bright. The cup is 3/4 full, in my opinion. So again, on behalf of all the councillors, thank you very much for your presentation here today.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor. Hang on, I've got 3 hands up. Councillor Ubagan?
It'd give me great pleasure to move the suggested resolution, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry, I'd overlooked that. Yeah, fine.
I'll second it.
Okay. And I had to. Okay. Alice's last day's 8. I'm going to allow her to be the seconder. So moved Councillor Ubagan and seconded Councillor Cathergood. All those in favour?
Aye.
So carried. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move to a few minutes here, and we have to be a little bit careful how we do this. Yep. Okay. Right, moving to item 2, lots of council minutes. Firstly, the confirmation of the non-confidential portion of the council minutes held on the 31st of August. Now, they should go from page 2/1, if I've got this right, through to 2/14. So are there any amendments to these minutes before I call for removal, please? Councillor Uvagan?
No, I didn't find any amendments, but I'd be happy to move them. Thank you.
I'll just ask again, any amendments before I call for remover? Being none, pages 2/1 through to 2/14. I accept Councillor Uvagan as the mover, and a seconder, please. Second, Councillor Kwasfusky. All in favour?
Aye.
Any matters arising, discussion therein? Councillor Kwasfusky.
On 2/10, the second paragraph, at this stage it was agreed to return the matter to septic tanks within residential as raised under matters arising. We finally got that all sorted out, Chief Executive. Yep. That's all been resolved, and we're quite happy with the resolution that EW have come across.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further matters arising, discussion? There being none. Secondly, special purpose ordinary minutes that commenced on the 20th of May 2010 and finished on the 8th of September 2010 on the Taupo Urban, Industrial and Commercial Structure Plan. Members, please note these minutes have previously been confirmed up to and including the 14th of July 2010. Therefore, the portion from the 6th of August 2010, page 71, onwards only require confirmation. So that's page
2/86, Your Worship, and I'm happy to move.
2/86, was it? Thank you. Are there any amendments to the portion of those minutes before I call for remover? Councillor McCully?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Page 2/91.
No, we're only going up to page 2/86 at the moment.
No, we're going from 2/86.
Oh, sorry, okay.
To 2/93, Mr. Mayor.
2/92, 2/93, you're quite correct. Which page, Councillor McCully?
Page 2/91, Mr. Chairman.
2/91.
I think there needs a clarification is needed at the bottom there under the roading low key road. I think it would read better if it read the issue of the alignment of the existing Lake Terrace road line between Ruapehu Street. Or you could put the existing Lake Terrace and Robert Street, which is perhaps even clearer.
Yes, well, that would help, because if you read that, you don't know where it is.
Okay, fine, I'll accept that. Everybody else is happy with that?
And just one other comment, it's a slightly facetious one, Mr. Chairman, but I find it quite extraordinary that on page 291 that over 3 hours of discussion in here took up, I think, 1.5 sentences of minutes. However, they are, the key points that were raised again at the end are covered.
Maybe we spent a long time talking about nothing. Do you want to change the minutes? Any amendments, Councillor McCully?
No, I'm just making a comment, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
comment noted. A mover, please.
I move those.
Move, Councillor Ormsby. Seconder, Councillor Blight. All those in favour? Aye. So carried. Any matters or discussions arising from them, please? Being none, thank you. Moving to item number 3, confirmation of the non-confidential portion of the minutes of the TKMP committee held on the 15th September, and please, any amendments to the minutes can be noted now, but the actual amendments should be made by the committee at their next meeting. Councillor Uvagan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Happy to move these minutes and that recommendation 2325 be adopted.
Okay, seconder for that, please. Councillor Hickling. Is there any discussion before I put the motion to the vote? There being none, I will put it to the vote. All in favour?
Aye.
Carried. Any matters arising, discussion thereof, please? Okay, being none, we will move to item number 4, which is the Turangi-Tongariro Mighty Community Board.
So moved.
Okay, but we can't have any minutes until you go back to your meeting as well.
Received, Your Worship.
Sorry?
These minutes are only to be received.
Yes. So a seconder, Councillor Kepper. Is there any discussion before I put the motion to the vote? All in favour? Any matters arising? Okay, cool. There being none, we will move to the minutes of the Taupo Airport Authority Committee held on the 16th of September, and again they're unconfirmed. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Kozlowski. I will second him. Councillor Kozlowski, do you wish to comment?